All, what is the God state? Ask yourself, who am I? A lazy bum who doesn't want to give themselves their dream lives? Surprisingly incorrect. Now, who are you really? Who is the one aware of that blank space when you're sleeping? Who is the one desiring? And who is the one giving? I want you to close your eyes. Focus on the darkness behind your eyes. In your mind, repeat the phrase I am. Don't condition anything to it. Simply just, I am. Focus on just being aware. Focus on just being. Just being. Being. You are simply just aware. And that is the I am. Before you are anything, you are I am. E.g., I am beautiful. I am intelligent. I am comes before everything. That is who you truly are. And you choose what to condition it to. Instead of choosing I am ugly, you can choose I am beautiful. And this I am is what we call the inner self. It is not a new concept to learn. You are familiar with it. It is simply just the you who has it all. I am is the only power that exists, which is you. You cannot separate yourself from I am. I am equals aware of being. And all. You are, is aware. Pure consciousness. That's all you are. And when you condition something unwanted to I am, you give that unwanted thing power. In short, the best way to describe the I am state is the void state. The I am state and the void state are the exact same thing. That omnipotence in the void state is you. You are the one giving. When you affirm or whatever for your desires in the void state, it's not the void state that holds the power, it is you who holds the power. You are the void state. Faceless and formless. Devoid of the concept of 3D and time. And that's why you can be anything you want to be. That is the real you. Not this 3D you. That's why when you're in the void state, whatever you decide you have materializes instantly, because in that state, you are no longer bound by human limitations. You are just purely you. The key to entering the God state is to get rid of the idea of the 3D and time. By this I mean, to stop expecting something to happen and stop counting the days since you started persisting and feeling discouraged when it's been a week and the 3D shows you nothing. You need to realize that time is simply just a concept made by humans. It doesn't exist. At all. You can have anything you want right now. And you do. I know that eventually you want to experience having your desires in the 3D. But first, you experience having them in the 4D. But the whole point is that you already have it. Now. Not later. And too many of you hold the idea of getting it later in the 3D without even realizing. You should be able to go back to imagination and feel fulfilled no matter what. In the God state, all that exists to you is being omnipotent and having everything you want now in imagination. There is no concept of the 3D and time in the God state. And that is what makes it so powerful. You know that that God self is the real you. The inner self. And that is who you fully identify with. Not time. Not the 3D. When you get rid of the silly idea of time and the 3D, you realize your power and the true meaning of having it now and not waiting for anything. You become indifferent to the 3D. You don't have what you want in the 3D? Didn't even notice because that's not the reality that I identify myself with. That doesn't matter because it has nothing to do with you, because you don't identify with it, because you know better than to identify with something that isn't you. You are not waiting for anything because you are God, and you already have everything you could desire. This point keeps flying over your heads because if you truly understand how powerful you are and the fact that you already have it, you simply wouldn't be procrastinating and doubting yourself. Because there is nothing to do and there is nothing to doubt. All of that nonsense comes from your human self and you keep accepting it as final. If you have the urge to check the 3D for results, vous do not understand. If vous vivez bin. Asking where your manifestation is, you do not understand. If you give yourself time crunches, you do not understand. If you are asking bloggers for help, you do not understand. If you expect something to happen, you do not understand. If you are waiting for something, you do not understand. If manifesting requires effort, you do not understand. If manifesting is mentally draining, you do not understand. If you're feeling impatient, you do not understand. If you're feeling discouraged, you do not understand. If you forgot to persist for a day and then spiral, you do not understand. If you get worried when you fall out of the state, you do not understand. If you think it's possible to fall out of the state, you also do not understand. If you view manifesting as a process, you do not understand. If you think that manifestation is not instant, you do not understand. You will never stop being God. You cannot fall out of your desired state when you acknowledge that you are God. That's like saying you've lost your own consciousness. You are consciousness itself. You cannot lose it. You can't fall out of it. You will always have it. You are it. Your consciousness is everything. That means that you are your desires. There is absolutely nothing outside of you. Every little thing that you dare to put on a pedestal other than yourself is within you. That huge mansion the size of Monaco? It's within you. That celebrity SO? Within you. Desired appearance? Within you. Fairy wings? Within you. Teleporting to planet Mars? Within you. Waking up with a completely new life? Within you. Everything and anything you could possibly imagine? Within you. Oh, don't tell me that wasn't obvious. So you may ask yourself, why does it feel so far away? The two biggest human limitations are the 3D and time, and you are not going to break free from those limitations until you realize that the I am does not experience the 3D and time. In the void state, you do not experience the 3D or time. At all. In that moment you are in your purest form. You are faceless and formless. Conditioned to absolutely nothing, just being aware of existing. So where am I going with this? Let me dumb it down for you. The I am does not experience the 3D and time. Real you equals I am. Therefore, the real you does not experience the 3D or time. Got it? Okay, now let's bring manifestation into this. Here's how the equation should be. 1. Real you I am HM, I want to manifest XYZ. I now decide that I have XYZ. Therefore, I have XYZ. 2. Real you I am, good thing that I do not experience the 3D or time at all, so I have no limitations and don't have to look at the 3D for proof or track time. I understand that I only have what I desire in imagination because that is my real reality since I am the creator of everything. I truly understand that I have my desire right now because I am. This part majorly corresponds with this post. Read it if you haven't, or chances are that you will not understand the concept of having it now. 3. Real you I am experiences having XYZ instantly because limitations do not exist in the I am, and there is no 3D in time to tell me otherwise because it doesn't exist in the I am. 4. Real you I am 3D conforms after persisting in desired assumption. Cool, wasn't expecting or waiting for anything. I really am limitless. It didn't even bother me that I didn't see movement in the 3D or time, I just knew I had my desire right now because I am, and that's all that matters. And here's how your outer self treats manifestation. 1. Outer you, HM, I want to manifest XYZ. I now decide that I have XYZ. Therefore, I have XYZ. 2. Outer you, 2 days past the 3D still hasn't conformed. It's okay. It will conform soon. 2 more days pass, I still don't have my manifestation. Where is it? It's already been 4 days. 3. Outer you, spirals because the 3D didn't conform, and the Mayakaro UAE's Navan Edri Pasu. Lols Lu Anuai Stanu Tile Lai. 3D is only a reflection of the 4D view's manifestation from the outer self and act surprised when they are blinded by limitations. 4. Outer you, what am I doing wrong? Let me read more posts and ask bloggers for help. See how that doesn't make sense. When you are manifesting, and you view it from your outer self, consider yourself an idiot. As Edward Art said before, the outer man sees nothing but limitations. And when you view manifestation from that outer self, you are surrounded by nothing but those limitations. But when you view manifestation from your inner self, you don't experience any limitations at all. 1. Detaching from your 3D self and concept of time. I'm not talking about derealization or anything like that. I am talking about tapping into your true self. It's not some sort of magical click that you'll feel. Or maybe for some of you it might. But that doesn't matter. All that matters is that you know who you actually are. Beyond this physical vessel. I hope you realize that the only reason I'm telling you to unidentify with these things is because they genuinely have nothing to do with you. They aren't you. And it's hard watching you imbeciles sabotage yourselves over something that has nothing to do with you. I'm not trying to get you to convince yourselves that you have your desires. I'm getting you to understand that you already do. It's the most important understand of all. I've seen blogs saying, be delusional, how about you start being the opposite and believing in what's actually real? The only time you're being delusional is when veri takina the 2D for an answer and is vu. Delusional is when you're taking the 3D for an answer. And as you know by now, the 3D doesn't exist to a purely conscious being, in other words, you. The 3D doesn't exist to a purely conscious being, in other words, you. This may be the second most important understanding of all, after creation is finished. Because the whole point of the law of assumption is that your 3D self is not the one experiencing your desires, it is the inner self who has it. The inner self does not experience the 3D at all. So why on God's green earth would you fool yourself by the delusions of the 3D when you know that it isn't you? You are not supposed to be experiencing your desires in the 3D, and you have to come to terms with that. All of your desperation to have your desires in the 3D comes from the outer self who desires to experience it in the 3D. All of your fulfillment of already having your desires in the 4D comes from the inner self who already possesses it, because you are it. You are your desires because there is simply nothing outside of you. Therefore nothing is out of reach. And there is no waiting for anything, because there is no concept of time in the I am except now. Therefore you can only have your desires now. Hence, the fact that waiting simply doesn't exist. To wait is to be illogical and a fucking dumb bars too. You realize the 3D is your creation, right? Like, yours. Your actual creation. The world is literally your oyster, whether you like it or not. The 3D has been bending over backwards for you ever since you were born. Listening to you. Reflecting you. Reflecting what you conditioned to your I amness. You are supposed to be viewing manifestation as your real self. That is why it is so easy. You will struggle if you view manifestation from your outer self, who is ruthlessly surrounded by limitations and contradictions. It would be heartless to ask you to just ignore that and blame you because you can't. Since the 3D and time do not exist to the real you, there is nothing to contradict your new story. Unless you let your outer self take the wheel and drive right off a cliff. Read that again, there is nothing to contradict your new story. There is nothing to contradict your new story. There is nothing to contradict your new story. Why? Because the real you is devoid of the concept of the 3D and time. It doesn't exist to you. Yes, it exists to the 3D you, but you don't identify with that anymore. Therefore, the 3D and time do not exist to you, there is only now. You can only have your desires now. Right now. Not later. Now. In imagination. Now. When you are manifesting, you are not supposed to be viewing it from your 3D self because that is not the one who has it. Do you finally understand what you're doing wrong? You can do no wrong in the God state. Whichever way you want to manifest is the correct way as long as you feel that you have it. You may not feel too great about it at first, but I promise you'll get there. You just accept these limitations and roll with it. I'm not telling you to ignore. I'm telling you to unidentify. And if you've read my previous golden posts, you'd understand that those are two very different things. If you apply this post that you're reading right now to my full guide post on manifestation, you will truly realize your God self. And you will truly understand how painfully easy manifestation is, and you'll have a good laugh at your old self for thinking it was difficult or required effort. God doesn't need effort. Some may tell you that you're the only one stopping yourself, but they're wrong. It's everything that isn't you that's really stopping you. The only part you play in that is by letting them and choosing to identify with it. All the real you is doing is rooting for you. Now for the big question. How exactly do you enter the God state? Surprise, surprise, but it's actually not something to enter. It is something to realize. And after this post, you should be able to pinpoint exactly who you truly are, so that you can finally start viewing manifestation from your real self instead of your human body. Remember, the outer man sees nothing but limitations. Now I'm going to carry you through realizing your God self. All you have to do is sit back and listen. Step 1. Understanding. First and foremost, there is nothing more important than understanding who you truly are. But I'm sure we've clearly established that in this post. So for once, can we move on from this victim mindset? The outer you sees nothing but limitations, but God holds nothing but power. So I ask very nicely, before you proceed with any further steps, make sure you fully understand everything I have told you in this post. You are God creator, you already have your desires. Your desires are within you, and that the 3D does not exist to a purely conscious being, only to the outer you. With these understandings, also comes with the understanding that there is nothing to get or wait for, so when you scrap the idea of the 3D in time, you won't have a desire for confirmation and conforming of the 3D. This is what happens when the point actually doesn't fly right over your head. Isn't that refreshing? Step 2. Realization remembrance. Realization? Don't be fooled or intimidated. This part is extremely simple. All of them are. All you have to do is remember who you truly are. Now that you know what the I am is from the first part of this post, I want you to feel it. All you have to do is close your eyes. All you have to focus on is just being aware. Quote from the first section of this post, I want you to close your eyes. Focus on the darkness behind your eyes. In your mind, repeat the phrase I am. Don't condition anything to it. Simply just, I am. Focus on just being aware. Focus on just being. Just being. Being. You are simply just aware. And that is the I am. Focus on that feeling of just purely existing. Just being purely aware. You are not your physical body. When I say you should know that I mean the I am. I am is always aware. Tie that feeling of awareness to the feeling of being God. Feel yourself to be all-powerful. You will naturally feel inclined to feeling powerful in that state because you are finally acknowledging your real self who is all-powerful. To sum up this step, and for further understanding, not optional. I see you, read my You Are Void post. I don't care if you've read it before. Read it again. Now that you feel yourself to be I am, let's move on to the next part. Step 3. Application. Now, for the final part. The part all of you seem to hate most. But the most important part of all. Application. And what does that mean exactly? Putting all the information that you know to good use. The best part is, you don't even have to lift a finger. The worst part is, you still somehow find a way to procrastinate, but that ends now. So here's what's going to happen. Randomly throughout your day, you will remind yourself of who you truly are, which is I am. You will do the short exercise above in the second step to remind yourself of who you actually are, beyond this physical body. All you are doing is reminding yourself. You are not manifesting becoming God, you are coming to terms with the fact that you already are. And all you are doing is feeling it. Before you ask, no, you are not feeling it real when doing this. You are literally just feeling yourself to be pure awareness, which is a fact. The sole purpose of this step is to remind yourself that you are God, so that you can stop being blinded by human limitations. The purpose of this? As you are reminding yourself that you are God, you will actually start to realize it. Even though after reading this post, you know that you are God, I could understand why some may not yet feel themselves to be God. Our whole lives we've been blinded by human limitations left, right, and center, especially when in terms of manifestation. You will genuinely laugh in the face of the 3D in time, without a care for it because you know that it is irrelevant to you, because you are so much bigger than it. You are God, and all this is your simple creation. You are finally viewing manifestation for what it truly is, from the viewpoint of your true self. Your God self is the one who has the desires, not the outer self. And now you're finally going to view manifestation from your true self, the one who truly has the desire, and the only one who can truly experience having. Also, being in the God state helps you get rid of the idea of having to do methods, put in effort, and there even being a right way to manifest. All you have to do is know that you are the creator and that you have all your desires. In the God state, everything is effortless. And as for dealing with the 3D, as long as you stay loyal to knowing who you truly are, everything will be more than okay. Most important understandings. If you have magically failed to understand that. 1. Creation is finished. 2. The 3D does not exist to a purely conscious being, in other words, you. 3. The only concept of time in the I am is now, therefore, waiting does not exist. 4. You are not thinking as if. You are thinking as it already is. You literally have it. Like genuinely actually have it. It's literally here in imagination, which is your true reality. There is nothing to pretend or desire to have. 5. There is no right way to manifest. God does whatever God wants. Do whatever reminds you that you are God and that you have your desires. Do it your way. 6. Lastly, in the God state, nothing feels impossible or difficult. In the God state, you know without a doubt. You may struggle without these understandings. And they are very, very easy to understand. There is no failure to understand, there is only failure to listen and apply. If I could summarize this post into 11 quotes. God state equals I am. The 3D doesn't exist to a purely conscious being, in other words, you. You are the void state. Faceless and formless. The two biggest human limitations are the 3D and time, and you are not going to break free from those limitations until you realize that the I am does not experience the 3D and time. The I am does not experience the 3D and time. Real you equals 1 AM. Therefore, the real you does not experience the 3D or time. When you view manifestation from your inner self, you don't experience any limitations at all. I'm not trying to get you to convince yourselves that you have your desires. I'm getting you to understand that you already do. There is absolutely nothing outside of you. Every little thing that you dare to put on a pedestal other than yourself is within you. Because the whole point of the law of assumption is that your 3D self is not the one experiencing your desires, it is the inner self who has it. The inner self does not experience the 3D at all. So why would you fool yourself by the delusions of the 3D when you know that it isn't you? Tie that feeling of awareness to the feeling of being God. Feel yourself to be all-powerful. In the God state, nothing feels impossible or difficult. Summary, the 3D and time are the two biggest human limitations when it comes to manifestation. Once you get rid of those two concepts, you unlock your God self and realize that you truly and wholeheartedly have it now in imagination because it is the only reality. You are I am. You are the void state. You are nothing but pure consciousness. You are all-powerful. You are God creator. Drill this post into your brain, read it over and over again until you fully understand.
Cleanse yourself from all the misinformation you retained, all the times you've put this shit on a pedestal, and all the fear you may have, and know that creation is done. You already have what you want. It's done. I see what you're seeing in your life right now, but it doesn't matter. It's not real. Your outer man isn't you. Your inner man is you. And your inner man you doesn't experience time, or the 3D, so as soon as you want something you have it. It's done. Stop racing against the clock to manifest your dream life. Time doesn't exist. Every single night, weekend, school break, you promise yourself that you're going to induce pure consciousness and manifest your dream life, and then you panic because your 3D isn't showing you that. You keep doing this to yourself. Stop it. What circumstances are showing you. So what? Your outer man fell asleep and didn't induce, but your inner man did. Resonate with that and block out the 3D world. It doesn't concern you. You are I am. You are everything and nothing, and you seriously don't think you can manifest anything. It pisses me off that you guys don't know how natural this is to you. Once you decide it's here. If you don't receive those outcomes on time, that on you for wavering. You didn't persist. If you did, it would be yours. It is yours. It's done. Creation is finished. You have it. Don't let anything break you. Even if the 3D slaps you in the face, I don't care. Your outer man can suck it with the complaints. You are so powerful, and you need to realize that nothing needs to be done. Stop looking for proof. Why are you letting the 3D, a dormant malleable mirror, tell you if you have your desires? There's just you, and everything that's already yours. So own up to it. Say it with your damn chest that it's yours. Say it so loud that even someone in the depths of hell and in the heights of heaven can hear that it's yours. If it wasn't yours, it would have passed you by, and you wouldn't even have any idea. If it wasn't yours, you wouldn't be here right now. If it wasn't yours, you wouldn't be trying even if you're doubting it. If it wasn't yours, it wouldn't have found you in 100 lifetimes. You cannot make this shit up. It's a fact. You don't find anything. Whatever is yours finds you. You cannot escape what's yours. That is your blessing. Take it. Own it. Live it.